Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to start today, as per usual, with the top 10. Today is Mr. Dave Taylor's top 10. Dave and I were colleagues for quite a while. We were on the hygiene team together. We used to basically wander around the warehouse picking up cardboard, rubbish, emptying bins, sweeping floors, that kind of thing. Just basically keeping the place tidy. He's great company. We had a very similar taste in films and music, so we always had sort of plenty to talk about. And I'm doing his top 10 today, and there's some great titles on here. Number 10, and I don't think these are in any particular order, but I'll start with the one at the top of the list, is Midnight Cowboy. Now this is a classic movie. For those of you that have not heard of it or seen it, it's set in New York, and it basically depicts the unlikely friendship between a naive sex worker, Joe Buck, who is newly arrived in New York from the country, and Dustin Hoffman, who plays an ailing con man named of Ratso Rizzo. It's an absolutely superb film. It was the first X-rated movie to win Best Picture at the Oscars in 1969. It also won Best Director for John Schlesinger, and I believe Best Adapted Screenplay. It's got a brilliant title track over the opening credits, which is Everybody's Talking by Nielsen, which I think was covered by The Beautiful South. Obviously their version is nowhere near as good as this one. And it's also got the most amazing score by John Barry, completely unforgettable. A brilliant movie. I've seen it quite a few times. I've got a Criterion Blu-ray somewhere upstairs which I need to dig out and take a look at, because it has been a while since I've seen it, but an absolutely brilliant choice. Number 9 is Silence of the Lambs. Now everybody pretty much knows Silence of the Lambs. Let's see, Anthony Hopkins plays Hannibal Lecter, convicted cannibal, murderer, serial killer, and Jodie Foster's character Clarice Starling enlists his help in order to catch a serial killer called Buffalo Bill. Again, a brilliant movie directed by Jonathan Demme. Was it Hopkins' finest performance? Most people say that it was. I would tend to agree with that, but there's another movie that he made quite a few years before that I thought he gave an amazing performance, in a movie called Magic, which I believe was directed by Richard Attenborough, and it's a story of a schizophrenic ventriloquist who basically takes on the personality of his dummy. He was superb in that, played opposite Burgess Meredith as his agent, who obviously went on to play Rocky's trainer. Let's see, Hopkins also did a brilliant movie called 84 Charing Cross Road, which I absolutely love. It's one of my all-time favourites, opposite Anne Bancroft. So yeah, that's a good choice at number 9. Number 8 is The African Queen. Now this is a title we've not had on the top 10 before. Stars Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn. I believe it was directed by John Huston, but feel free to pull me up on that if I'm wrong. Just a really classic old style Hollywood drama, well worth inclusion on anybody's list. Number 7, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This is Jack Nicholson's tour de force performance from 1976, where he plays the inmate of an insane asylum. There are some major stars in this. They weren't major stars at the time, but this is where a lot of them started. You've got Danny DeVito, you've got Christopher Lloyd, who played the Doc in Back to the Future, and also Brad Dourif, who went on to be the voice of Chucky, the killer doll. This is an absolutely superb movie. I believe it won countless Oscars around about 1976. This is one I haven't seen for decades. I do remember watching it and being very impressed with it. Obviously Jack Nicholson started life in movies like Easy Rider and Five Easy Pieces, but this was the first movie that I saw him in, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Number 6, Terminator 2. great choice. This is one of those rare beasts of a sequel being as good, if not better, than the original. The original Terminator was a superb movie, really, really good. This, Terminator 2, took it to another level. We saw special effects that we'd not seen before, sort of computer generated kind of things. I believe in 1993 Jurassic Park took it to yet another level, but this was the first one to do those kind of effects, and it was really, really good. Yeah, well worth it. Number 5, Kelly's Heroes. This is one that I've never seen and I've always meant to watch. I have got a copy of this on Blu-ray upstairs. It's on a double bill with, I believe, Where Eagles Dare, part of my little Clint Eastwood collection. I know it's a war movie. I know it's in a sort of a kind of a similar vein to sort of Von Ryan's Express. I kind of put those movies together. That would be quite a double bill to watch, actually. Von Ryan's Express and Kelly's Heroes. It is one that I need to watch, but it's one that I've not caught as yet. Number 4 is The Wild Geese. Do you remember those little pocket-sized comics that you used to be able to get in the 70s? There were some horror ones, and I believe there were some Western ones, and also some war ones. The Wild Geese is very, very similar to one of those brought to life. It's a typical boys' own adventure. 4 mercenaries are employed by a high-ranking banker to rescue an African diplomat from, I believe, South Africa, to liberate him from a prison. Your 4 mercenaries are Richard Burton, Roger Moore, Hardy Kruger and Richard Harris. I never get bored of this. It is just a superb action movie. This is basically how we made action movies in the 70s. It has a look and feel that is completely unique. Again, I never get bored of watching this. The title track by Joan Armatrading is superb. I believe it's called Flight of the Wild Geese. It's just a brilliant film, obviously set in South Africa for the most part. The action scenes are superb. It's as violent as hell. And it's just, if you've never seen The Wild Geese, please check it out. As for Wild Geese 2, not really sure about that one. It was a kind of a sequel to it, but it didn't feature any of the original cast. So, number 3, Dirty Harry. The original Harry Callahan movie from 1971, directed by Don Siegel, starring Clint Eastwood. Was it the best of the series? I'm not sure. They were all, to me, absolutely amazing. The only one I didn't get on with was the Deadpool. I wasn't overly keen on that one. Perhaps I do need to watch it again. But Dirty Harry, Magnum Force, The Enforcer, and also, what was the other one? There was another one, but I can't remember what it was. some Clint Eastwood fan, aren't I? But yeah, Dirty Harry, absolutely superb. Seen it many, many times. Never gets boring. Number 2, The Elephant Man. I would class this as David Lynch's most normal, traditional movie. David Lynch makes movies that are well out there. He also made the TV series Twin Peaks. Movies he's made, let's see, there's Wild at Heart, Blue Velvet, Lost Highway, and there's another one that I can't remember the name of. But his movies are really, really strange, but I love them. I absolutely love them. Number 1, he's got The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. I'm ashamed to say I have never seen the Dollars trilogy. I bought it on Blu-ray years ago, but have never got round to watching them yet. I believe it started with, let me get this right, I think it was A Fistful of Dollars, followed by For a Few Dollars More, and then The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, which is supposed to be the absolute best of the 3. But obviously I need to watch the first 2 first. They are all quite long-winded films. I believe the first 2 are over 2 hours, and The Good, the Bad and the Ugly is nearly 3. So I need to set aside some time to watch those. I mean, that's his top 10. I've also got a fair old list of honourable mentions here, which I'm going to read out. These are ones that didn't quite make it into the top 10, but probably should have done. First is Get Carter, the quintessential Michael Caine movie, probably one of the 2 or 3 best gangster movies, British gangster movies. The only one I can think of that came even remotely close to Get Carter is The Long Good Friday with Bob Hoskins and Helen Mirren, which was superb. But as far as British gangster movies go, Get Carter, you do not get any better than that. The next one is Sleuth. This is another Michael Caine film. He's a big Michael Caine fan, as you will probably realise as we get further down this list. Sleuth, I saw it many, many years ago, and I'm going back to probably the 70s, but I haven't seen it since. It's a very difficult movie to get hold of. It's not available over here on DVD or Blu-ray. It should be, because I remember it being excellent. This is Michael Caine and Laurence Olivier, and it is basically a 2-person movie to do with, let me get this right, Laurence Olivier finds out his wife is having an affair with Michael Caine, invites him to his country mansion, and basically puts him through a series of tests, if I remember right. But it is one that I need to watch again. Mona Lisa, Michael Caine again, absolutely brilliant. I would definitely put this up with Get Carter and The Long Good Friday. If there was a trilogy, I would class Mona Lisa as the third part of that. Superb movie. Michael Caine again for the next one, The Eagle Has Landed. Never seen this one, but I've heard a lot about it. I know a lot of people that love this film. I don't know much about it. I believe it's based on a Jack Higgins novel, but I've never seen it, so I don't know. But it is one that I need to check out. The next one is My Left Foot. This is Daniel Day-Lewis's, I believe it's an Oscar-winning turn that he did when he played, was it Christy Brown? The disabled gentleman who could paint and write with his feet. Brenda Fricker was in there, who went on to play in Casualty. I did see it, but a long time ago. Here we go with Michael Caine again for the next one, Educating Rita. Brilliant British comedy based on a stage play by Willie Russell. Michael Caine plays a grizzled old university lecturer. Julie Walters plays a pupil wanting to learn about literature. Absolutely brilliant. The script is brilliant. The acting is superb. A classic British comedy comedy drama from about 1983, I believe. Next one, The Omen. Superb horror movie, directed by Richard Donner, starring Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, and also Patrick Troughton. They remade this around about 2006. Heaven knows why. There was nothing wrong with the original, it was fine, but for some reason they found they wanted to remake it and did it. Was it as good? Of course it wasn't. So The Omen, superb film. Next one, Erin Brockovich. I saw this a long time back. This is Julia Roberts as a lady who finds out that the local water has been either poisoned or something like that, and she goes to court with the water company to sue them for damages. The next one, The Night Porter. This is a film that's always intrigued me. I believe this is Dirk Bogarde and Charlotte Rampling. This is all to do with an ex-Nazi. I don't know much more about it, to be honest, but it's a film that I've always read bits about and always been intrigued by, and it's one that I do definitely need to check out. Next one is The Shootist. Now this is John Wayne. The only John Wayne film I've actually seen is True Grit, which I loved. Another movie of his that I've always meant to get round to watching is The Sons of Katie Elder. Now this was on pretty much 2-3 times a year on ITV, usually on a Sunday afternoon when they used to screen westerns, and I would imagine it's superb, and I never got round to watching it. It's one that I always meant to take in. And I've got 2 music ones to finish off here. One is Tommy. Now this is The Who's rock opera from 1975. What a cast. You've got Roger Daltrey, you've got Jack Nicholson and Margaret, Keith Moon, Paul Nicholas, Elton John, just amazing. It's one of those movies that when you first read about it, as I did in the 70s, I thought, oh God, no. An entire opera where nobody actually speaks, they just sing everything. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I bought the soundtrack quite recently, actually, and I also got the movie on Blu-ray. Uh, just a superb movie. Can't fault it. And the final one is The Wall, which I've never seen. This is Pink Floyd. The only thing I know about The Wall is it spawned a number one from 1979, Another Brick in the Wall. But what it actually is, I have no idea. So I do need to check that out. So that's Dave Taylor's top 10. Thanks ever so much for that, mate. There are some cracking titles on there. I usually take one or two off every list and add it to my watch list, and they're usually titles that I've not seen before. So looking down here, one has got to be The Night Porter, without a doubt. That's one that I really do want to see and I've put off for quite a while. The other one would have to be, I would say The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, because I've been promising to watch that for so long, never got round to it. So I shall add those two to my watch list. So thanks ever so much for that, Dave. Very, very much appreciated. Right, what have I been buying this week? I'll come to that in a minute, actually. What I'll show you first is I promised to do this last week, my go-to Christmas movies. These are the movies that I tend to watch pretty much every year. These are not particularly in any order. I'll just show them very quickly. First one is The Christmas Tree. Now this DVD is superb. I got this quite recently from Talking Pictures TV. I don't know what The Christmas Tree is about. All I know this DVD contains some really nostalgic Christmas movies, mostly shorts. You've got on here Christmas Carols in 1947, Christmas in Britain, Christmas in London in 1957, The Night Before Christmas, which is an animated version of the tale from 1946. There's all sorts on here, but it's dwarfed by The Christmas Tree, which is about an hour and 10 minutes. So that's one that I need to watch. I've only got that recently. Next one, everybody knows this one, Santa Claus the movie. I remember when this first came out, it came out in 85. It wasn't particularly successful, if I remember right, but it's gained a bit of a following over the years since. I love this, absolutely love it. I think Dudley Moore as the elf is absolutely superb, and John Lithgow as the crooked businessman is brilliant as well. This is one that I do tend to watch, not every year, probably every couple of years, that one. This is one I do watch every year. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. There were quite a few of these in the 60s. These are stop motion animated little movies, usually about 45 to 50 minutes long, by, let me tell you who actually made these. They're very, very famous. They're so famous I can't remember who they are. Oh, that's it, Rankin and Bass, who did a lot of animated stuff in the 60s. This is brilliant. It also features the voice of Fred Astaire. And the other one, along the same lines, that I watch every year is this one, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Out of the two, this one is my favourite. I mean, we all go back to being like little kids at Christmas, don't we? Which is why I still love watching these. They take me back. These are the kind of Christmas movies that I grew up with. I was born in 62, so the first time I'd have seen these, I'd have been about 6 or 7. So they left a lasting impression on me, and I still love them now. The next one, an all-time classic. It's a Wonderful Life, James Stewart. Never gets boring. This, again, was not popular when it first came out, but I believe this movie passed into the public domain not long after it was basically, when television came along, TV stations used to plug this something terrible. They used to show it pretty much every Christmas, which is how it became a Christmas classic, because it was free to them. It was free to air, so they could just screen this as many times as they wanted. And it's gained a real following over the years and a reputation as being one of the most brilliant Christmas movies ever. So I will be watching that one. Next one is Holiday Inn. This is Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire. This is the movie that gave birth to the the record White Christmas. This is the first time you heard it was in this. I haven't seen this for quite a few years, so I will be watching that one over the next couple of weeks, just to hear White Christmas again. Next one. This is a Christmas special. It's only 30 minutes long, but if you want something that will definitely make you feel very, very festive, I can't think of anything better than this. This is Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby's Christmas special. As I say, 30 minutes long, lots of songs, lots of festive atmosphere, absolutely brilliant. Next one, Bing Crosby's Christmas. Now this is a series of his Christmas specials that were on basically from the late 50s right up until the mid 70s. The one I watch every year is the one from 1977, which is the one where David Bowie guested on it and sang Little Drummer Boy with him. Every single year I watch that particular one because it is so bloody Christmassy. Absolutely love it. Next one. I love these. I remember these from when I was a kid. Now, I found out that somebody else loves these as well. Donna, you asked me about these ones. It's Christmas time. Is it Christmas time? A Charlie Brown Christmas. Again, this has got a lovely festive atmosphere. These are all from, I believe, the late 60s, early 70s. You've got a Charlie Brown Christmas, a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. There are also a couple of bonus episodes on there. I used to love Charlie Brown, absolutely superb. Next one. To me, this is one of the ultimate Christmas movies, White Christmas. This is obviously Bing Crosby. It's an Irving Berlin musical. Again, it never gets boring. This is on TV pretty much every Christmas. At some point you will see White Christmas. You've also got Danny Kaye. This is just superb. I will definitely be watching this, more than likely Christmas morning. My favourite ever Christmas film, Scrooge, with Albert Finney. Absolutely brilliant. Oodles, absolute bucket loads of Christmas atmosphere. The songs are superb. I can't fault this. I absolutely love this. This to me is Christmas, along with A Ghost Story for Christmas, which the BBC used to do. They never get boring either, but this, with Albert Finney as Scrooge, to me this is the best version of A Christmas Carol. So that is my go-to Christmas movies. What else have I been buying? I've got a couple of a book here. Let me just show you this one. 100 road movies. Now I was going to do a list of my favourite road movies, but I'm going to have to do it in the new year because I've bought a couple more that I think will feature on that list. This is an amazing book. Is it a BFI one? I think it is. Yes. You've got many titles in here. Most of them I have never even heard of, but when I've read this I will be trying to track those down, I guarantee you. This is a classic road movie. Never seen it, but heard a lot about it. Two Lane Blacktop from about 1971, I think. So that's one I need to have a look at. Just went through a bit of a phase about a week ago where I was just after road movies. Vanishing Point, another classic starring Barry Newman, who went on to play the detective Petrocelli. Do you remember him? Used to live out in the desert in an old caravan, and he was building a house. Stars him. And this has got apparently one of the greatest chase sequences ever. This was, not so much recommended to me. I heard someone talking about this. Callista Valentine, this is one of your favourites, Nightbreed. I believe this is the director's cut that you were talking about. So I'm really looking forward to having a look at this. I love Hellraiser. I'm not a massive fan of Clive Barker as such, but I have heard this is very good. And on the back of your review of it, talking about it, I actually ordered this and I'll be taking a look at that one. And finally, got another one, Smokey and the Bandit. Burt Reynolds, Jackie Gleason, Sally Field. Road movie, you just can't go wrong with this. It's funny. The title song in this, I can't remember, East Down and something, I can't remember, but it's absolutely brilliant. It's the kind of track you should start every single day off with. But this is brilliant, and on 4K it looks absolutely amazing. I've seen it quite a few times. Again, never get bored of it. And And finally, Convoy. Now this was it basically started life as a record in 1975 or 6, I believe, by C.W. McCall, and I'm guessing Sam Peckinpah, director of classics like The Wild Bunch and the brilliant Straw Dogs, obviously picked up on that track and thought that'd be a good idea to make it into a film. And on paper you would think there's no way that would work, but he makes it work. This is Chris Christopherson, Ali McGraw, Ernest Borgnine as the crooked sheriff. Absolutely amazing movie, great soundtrack, and that title track is completely unforgettable. So that's what I've been buying. I've got a couple of magazines here. I've got the latest issue of Sight and Sound, which is the greatest films of all time as voted for by directors, etc. I'm going to have a read of that and I'm going to see whether I agree with any of them. The latest issue of Scream, which is all horror movies, features an article on The Exorcist and also Theatre of Blood, which is one of my favourite ever Vincent Price movies, so I'm looking forward to having a read of that. The latest issue of Film Stories, which has got Daniel Radcliffe on the cover as Weird Al Yankovic in the movie Weird Al, which is one I'm absolutely up for watching. I do want to see that one. And also, what I've got here, the latest issue of SFX. It's not even out the cellophane yet. And this is all sci-fi stuff. And finally, the Christmas double issue of the Radio Times. Now, you remember, well, you may not remember actually, in the 60s, 70s and 80s, most of the 70s actually, the double issue of the TV Guide was an event. It was something major. This was before the days before sort of satellite, when movies premiere probably about a couple of months after. You had to wait years for them to appear on TV, and most of the big premieres were at Christmas. You also had to buy the Radio Times and the TV Times. The TV Times covered ITV and Channel 4, and the Radio Times covered obviously BBC One and BBC Two. Ever since satellite came along, I had a quick read through that last night, and I've probably found about half a dozen things that I really, really want to watch. Maybe a dozen at most. Years ago, I'd be sat there for hours circling with a pen all the titles, all the movies that I wanted to record. Obviously, I used to save up for a fresh pack of videotapes to fit them all on. I normally had to buy 2 if I remember right. E180s or E240s, remember those? So yeah, the double issue of the Radio Times and TV Times was a major, major thing to look forward to. Not so much now. I mean, if you're into soaps and stuff like that, you're well catered for. But as for movie premieres, we've pretty much seen them all before. And if we haven't seen them before, we probably don't want to see them. So yeah, I grabbed hold of that as soon as I saw it, but reading through it last night, it's like, it's not the same, is it? It's not the same as it was years ago. So, right, that's it for this week, folks. Thanks ever so much for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another Sunday service. Hope you've enjoyed this one. If you've enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and also subscribe, and also share if you could. That would be very much appreciated. I've actually won a couple of new subscribers through people sharing the videos. That's very much appreciated. As I say, I'll be back again tomorrow. Thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you all again in the morning. Take care, everybody. Take care. Ta-ra.